Welcome to NOSIS, the podcast that celebrates no shame in struggle. We tackle shame and stigma head on and celebrate the power of creativity in overcoming adversity. I'm your host, Neenagh Seemone, and in this series, we'll be diving into inspiring stories of successful individuals who've really turned their struggles into their superpower. Today, we have the honour of speaking with our first guest, Kofi Josephs, professional basketball player, full-time model, and mental health business owner. A man of many talents indeed. I'm an English language student, and recently I've been searching how language can really affect how society receives health information. For me, it's a representation of invisible disabilities. So today I wanted to talk to you about neurodiversity and hear about your mental health journey from a male perspective, but really how you managed to overcome it.
Yep, no problem. Sounds good to me. I love talking about this type of stuff, so.
Amazing. I've been diagnosed with some stuff recently. So initially when I think I must have been about 25 when I started to think, actually, I'm experiencing panic attacks. I'm feeling overwhelmed easily. I noticed that my social relationships were struggling and I'd struggled to keep a job down and things like that because of it. It was always down as anxiety and depression. And I think for me, the main marker was when I had my little boy, I thought there's a bit more to it than this. So I seeked my own diagnosis. I actually paid like £600 to find out that I had ADHD. And off the back of that, I was then diagnosed with OCD and PTSD. And currently they're looking at whether there's BPD as well. So there's a lot going on, a lot in the mix. But I noticed that they're all end with disorder, which for me is a bit of a conflict of interest in terms of how we use the language, because I believe that those differences and each one of those diagnoses actually has traits that enable me to be me and actually empower me with the tools I need to be an individual. So I think my question to you is, what does your mental health journey look like? Do you have any diagnoses and do you feel that they're important?
My mental health journey is nuts in terms of, I haven't been fully diagnosed, but like with my education in like psychology and the subject, definitely there's some stuff in there. Do you know what I mean? Especially even if it's like mild autism. There's been things over time where I'm just like, oh, all right, yeah, maybe you might want to go down that route and just investigate, because there's certain times where I'm doing stuff where I don't understand me. Do you know what I mean? Where it's always, why did I do that? What was I thinking? Because when people used to say that, I used to be so defiant and like anti, where I'm just like, I'm not listening. But because I'm in certain situations which are so important, the repercussions are a lot more visible. Do you know what I mean? Like the consequences are definitely consequencing. So I had to like go down that route and start finding stuff out, because I was essentially like ruining my career, ruining my life, ruining like certain situations, which is like burning a bridge and there's no coming back. So I had to like go down there. And then also there's definitely like OCD in it as well. Not sure of like what level, but I'm functioning. But then there's that grey area of, right, you're a little bit more obsessed. Why do you care, but then there's past caring. Do you know what I mean? To the point where it's like, I can't continue my day now.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And it's like, all right, Kofi, just let it go. I'm trying, but I actually can't. Do you know what I mean? And when you're around people who don't actually understand, it's, oh, he's just mad. Oh, he's nuts. Or he's this, he's that, getting labelled quickly. But then you're like, yo, I'm trying and there's not much I can do. And when it comes to PTSD as well, from the hood, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that speaks for itself. Do you know what I mean?
PTSD.
And I didn't realize I had PTSD until I left. And thank God for like basketball and moving out of my community, because you don't realize in these communities just like how hyper vigilant you are. Do you know what I mean? Like you're 10, 11, you're hearing gunshots, you're seeing people get stabbed on the street, you see people get rushed outside the chicken shop, you're in your school uniforms eating chicken, seeing people get their head bust.
Yeah.
Carrying on laughing and then just going about your day. Do you know what I mean? Going to sleep, hearing helicopters, thinking this is normal. And then once I moved and I'm in a nice area, I'm not hearing foxes, I'm not hearing birds, there's no police sirens, helicopters, nothing. I'm thinking, I actually can't sleep. I feel uncomfortable in this.
In the silence.
Yeah, and then I realised, I used to ask the people I'm like living with, I'm like, it's not a bit awkward for you? Like how do you they're like, what do you mean? And only then did I realise that people live different lives. Do you know what I mean? And then that's when I realised I had like PTSD from like family trauma, from seeing stuff, and because everyone else thinks it's normal, I am thinking it's normal,
Yeah.
but not realizing like it's going against how I should be. Do you know what I mean? And it's just a big mix of a lot of things going on. So I'm definitely aware of the grey area.
Yeah, because you have to develop tools to sort of, I guess, exist in that environment. It was the same for me. I was born and bred in Longsight and somehow find myself in these gang wars because I'm on the wrong territory. You know, I have family from my side and Old Trafford, but I live in the Donington side and then I'm in the Gooch side and then I'm getting strangled on the street and people putting their hands around my neck. And again, it's quite normalised behaviour. The police don't really... You know, when it comes to minor incidents, unless there's a serious injury, it's not something that I've ever seen develop into anyone really getting done for it. So you just
And you know what?
put
With
it
that,
down.
yeah, see the police, they're a reactive measure. They're not preventative measure. So that level of mental health yourself, where, yeah, the police are there, but it's, I've got to take care of me until they get there.
Yeah.
Anything can happen to me until they get there. So you're talking about being strangled on the street. Yeah, the police might do something about it if they come and they catch it or someone calls and that guy gets arrested or whoever. But what about the anxiety where I'm like, oh, I got to go school. I got to go here. I got to go bus stop. I'm in an area that's dodgy. There's people after me. What if I'm going to have problems? So you're telling me I've got to get strangled first for me to get help.
Yeah.
Which isn't the police's fault because they can't prevent everything. But it's also like that anxiety, that stress of I can't lock myself in the house because I actually have to go out, I have to do stuff. I don't want to stay in the house because I want to go out and do stuff. I'm in a rock and a hard place. What do I actually do? But then everyone around you understands but doesn't understand because they got their own stuff going on. Do you know what I mean? And your mental health just starts to grow in a way that you just don't even really understand.
And it's like goes inside and then you internalise it a little bit and kind of isolate. So I think for me, what you touched on there was the social anxiety that I developed because I've always been a very confident, outgoing person. But I think as I was exposed to more trauma, I began to not really feel safe outside, out in the world. Whereas when I'm in my own little bubble at home, I can look after myself and I feel safe. So I think over time, I developed, like I said, this social anxiety. You wouldn't catch me out on public transport. I still struggle with things like that. I think going out in busy places, I now find it quite overwhelming, but it's hard to go back to, okay, where did that come from and why do I feel that way? And then how do I push myself out of my comfort zone? So for me, I came across Reform Radio and that was at a time I was in severe isolation. I'd literally locked myself behind closed doors for a good couple of years. I was indoors, it was me in the mirror, and I probably developed some coping mechanisms that were not favourable, and probably, I would say, yeah, I probably did have an addiction at that time. So that was something I used as an escape, but also spent the time with myself, came out the other side and realised actually what I'm not going to tolerate. I learned how to set my boundaries, but also that I actually needed creativity to do something that expresses that struggle and gets it out. So I found, like I say, I came to Reform, I did a music course, so I learned how to DJ, I learned how to podcast, and just gave myself some skills that will take me to the stage of my life where I know in order to start my healing journey, I have to talk about it, I have to unpack where possible. So luckily, I'm in a few groups now, and I found a beautiful community off the back of the projects that I've done with Reform Radio. I've also found myself in a mum support network group, which has been powerful for me as a single mum, and got me back out and about integrating into society and understanding that as a collective we can really harness that power and put out something positive, hopefully to inspire people who might be on the same pathway. So for you, I know you work with all sorts of groups. You've got a collaboration with the police and the NHS. So what do you do within those roles?
Yeah, I've got... You know what it is for me? When people talk about mental health, I just hate the way, like, they talk about it. Because being, like, a young black kid from the hood, for one, the support weren't really there for him. Then I'm, like, a budding, young, talented basketball player who's doing well. So, like, they also get brushed to the side because it's usually the kids who are doing bad in school, this, that, and the other. But it's like, do you think I'm not going through stuff too? Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just me and my mum at home.
Yeah.
You get me? Where I'm going to school, I'm hearing gunshots, I'm seeing man get rushed. I've got to choose between what friends. I'm being isolated because I don't really want to be on that no more. I'm doing what I'm doing. What about me? What about my mental health? Do you know what I mean? And also, wherever I'm trying to go, I don't know anyone that's gone there before. So, like, I'm walking in the dark with my hands out. I didn't have me then. Do you know what I mean? I had, like, some elders who played basketball, but I've reached higher, like, the level I've reached now, I'm higher than any of them I've ever been. So it's like, they could only support me to a point. And with not having a dad, you're just in the hood being raised by other young men who ain't got dads either. So it's just a bunch of idiots raising idiots. Do you know what I mean? It is what it is. So for me, when it comes to like mental health, I wanted it in culture. So for me, my aim is to get mental health in culture, because that way you don't isolate people. We are culture. The people are the culture. Do you know what I mean? Like with them silly Super Mario boots, the big red ones. Do you know what I mean? Like, they came out, everyone hated them, but then culture decided we like them. So now everyone likes them. It's the same with anything. And like, for me, with mental health, if we destigmatize it in culture, then it's just another thing. It's like if I said to you right now, what's wrong? If you had a headache, you'd be like, oh, I got a headache. You already feel a little bit better. Then I'm talking about, have you had drank water? When did you go to sleep? You've been eating foods that trigger. How do you exercise? Do you need a paracetamol? Do you know what I mean? I'm here to support you. You feel supported. Problem shared, problem halved. But the reason why I'm in so many different like collaborations or partnerships and this, that and the other is because they are in culture and they're very important in culture. So when I talk to the police, it's, you guys don't really understand the people.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And like, it's funny because the way they view me now, I know they don't see me as an IC3 black male. I know I'm an IC3, but because I've reached the levels I've reached, I can walk into the police headquarters and it's, hey.
Can you define IC3 for us?
It's a black male.
Is
Do you know
it?
what I mean? Yeah,
Is
it's a
that
black male.
code?
Yeah, it's what the police radio.
Oh, right. Okay.
I learned about that when I was like 10.
Right.
Because I'm getting stopped and searched all the time to
Just
the point
because
where...
you fit that code.
Just because I'm a black kid. Do you know
Yeah.
what I mean? And it's like, yeah, we're going to stop and search. Do you get me? And it's like, for what? I'm in my school uniform. Obviously, now everything's a bit mad. But it's like, back then, they could just decide they wanted to do it. And they don't realise that as the police, they were thinking, oh, yeah, we're just going to do a stop and search. If you got nothing on you, shouldn't be a problem. It's fine. But you're not realising you're doing it in town. I'm in my school uniform, innocent kid. I'm being stopped and searched in front of everyone. Now, there's women my nan's age who are looking on the bus thinking, oh, look at him, bad breed.
Yeah.
Look at him, he's probably been stopped and searched because he's done something. I've done nothing. Now I can see how they perceive me.
Yeah.
You're already in society, I think after the age of 10, if you're a black boy, you're like adultified or whatever the word is, do you know what I mean? You're not seen as a child anymore. You're seen as like a predator.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And like that gets pushed on you, even from the police, this, that and the other. So it's funny because when I go into the police now, it's like, Kofi, hey, we want you to meet this person, we want you to meet that person. Hey, this is Kofi representing Great Britain, England, blah, 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 mental health advocate. I'm like, yeah. All right. Someone's like, I saw you on TV modeling. I'm like, yeah, perfect.
Yeah.
But you don't realise that I started off as him,
Yeah.
as that little kid. Do you know what I mean? Who easily, if I wasn't so defiant and decided to change my life and I was so defiant to stick with it through the BS, you wouldn't be all gassed up using me as a token right now. Do you know what I mean? Which is fine, but that's why I've got to infiltrate certain places so that they really get the real. But they get it in a way that I can communicate it to them that they understand. You get me? I'm old enough now. I understand. I've been in certain situations. I'm media trained. I know how to communicate things to where, and even using psychology, reverse psychology, of getting them to think and come to the answer themselves. Because if I keep giving them the answer, when they're out on the street about to do a stop and search, or they're in their office thinking about what can we do in Longside, Moss Side, blah, 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 they need to be able to come up with the answers themselves. It's not me feeding it, because when they understand, then it like the ink bleeds in the right way. Do you know what I mean? And the police and all these institutions need to understand they're in culture whether they like it or not.
Yeah.
We're all in culture whether we like it or not. We're all integrated in each other's lives. So yeah, I love being a part of like certain partnerships and I love trying to get in everywhere. There's not many men that look like me in these institutions and in these places and is able to get the point across in a way that they understand.
Exactly. So you're relatable and you've seen both sides of the coin. For me as well, like you, I didn't really have members of my family that had walked that path that I was trying to choose. I went into international gymnastics. I was the first one in my family to go to uni, to buy a house, to set up a business. So I'm taking all these risks that feel, why do I feel the need to do this? Why do I feel the need to break that cycle and not have this limited belief on myself? I'm not sure why I'm like that, but I think I'm just grateful that I am, because I do come from a family that are like, okay, we'll choose this route. And I think if you can, you know, run the road, you can run a business, you can manage
100%.
people. And I think it's really important that we communicate these messages to reach a couple of those people that do have that mindset where they know they want more, but they know that there's more than one way to go about getting it. And I think that's why it's so important to share stories like yours. I think we all go through those crossroads, and as a child you're expected to know where you want to go, what you want to be so early. But do we have enough inspiration? Do we have enough stories to help children really make those decisions? And at the moment, I would argue that we don't, which is why I think it's so important to have these conversations. Going back to the crossroads stage where we do decide a path that we're going to take. Can you tell us more about how you decided to go down your sports career and maybe why you chose one of the hardest sports ever?
You know what's funny about that is I didn't choose basketball.
Okay.
It's kind of like basketball chose me in a way. So single black parent in the city doing all that. My mum wanted me to just do anything that I was interested in because she's not having me hanging around on the street doing all this and that. She's not. So I used to swim for my region and I was a brown belt in Kung Fu. But this is where like the OCD and all that comes in, because I'd obsess. Anything I liked, I'd obsess and get really good, and I'd do it for about 2 years. Once I got to a point where I know I'm certified and I'm really good, binned.
Dopamine down.
Just gone. Where my mum's like, son, you can really take this. Everyone's saying you're talented, you're like certified. It's not like, oh, he's got a little bit of talent. Like, he's good. Why don't you want to do it anymore? Nah, I'm bored now.
Yeah.
Onto something else. Start from the bottom, climb a gun, do it, bin it. But with basketball, so obviously back in the day, these kids don't play out no more now. But as soon as school used to finish, straight to my nan's, street clothes, school uniform off, outside playing, going park, convoys on the bikes. Even if I had like £1, I'm going to the chip shop, get a couple of tip tops, anything. Do you know what I mean? I'm outside, just having fun, just chilling. And my close friend at the time, Reese, he was into everything. So we used to even skateboard, do all that. One day he came out of basketball and I'm like, what are you doing with that? I knew of basketball, but what are you doing with that? So we're at the park playing. We're playing this, that, and the other. And like, Reese had a fit. So he suffered from epileptic fits. Bear in mind, we're like 10, 11. Obviously, you're thinking, yo, get up. Like, what you doing? Epileptic fit. Finally, ambulance and that come. Cool. A couple of months go by. Epileptic fit again. But now we're aware. So it's like, yo, we're 10. No one's got phones at this time. It's not like now. Go get an elder, ambulance come, blah, blah, blah. One time, Reese, it was, I don't know, it was like in the morning. I saw him, I'm like, yo, I'm going to knock for you later on. Saw his mom. Reese is in the house, locked himself in the bathroom, just doing whatever he's doing. His mum and that's gone shop, him and her and his little sister. Reese has had an epileptic fit in the bathroom, hit his head. They've came back, he's dead.
Wow.
This is like my closest friend, so I'm thinking, my mum's told me, I'm like, rah, I'm like 10, 11. I don't experience death. I don't know what's going on. All I'm thinking is, yo, I'm knocking for my brethren later on. Found out, I'm like, all right, this is crazy. So from then I was like, nah, I'm cool with basketball. That was Reese's thing. I used to play with him a little bit, but I don't like it. I'll just do anything. Didn't really like football, but if the man them are playing football, I'll kick about. In school now, I didn't like men. Like, just me and men. It's just, nah, do you know what I mean? Dad issues. I'm just like, mate, you tell me what to do. I'm not having it. Woman, all right, cool, I'm listening. Do you know what I mean? Because I'm raised by my mum, my nan, my aunties, all that's blessed. Then I'm getting in trouble in school all the time, but I'm gifted and talented for every subject. So I'm like the top of the top in everything, but I'm kicked out of every single class for running my mouth. Or you can't tell a 10, 11-year-old, 15 minutes left of class, shut up and be quiet, don't talk to his friends. Give me extra work, done the extra work. Give me extra work, don't have any. I'm talking to my friends then, I'm 10. Do you know what I mean? Like, of course I'm doing that. Kofi, get out. I'm like, oh, shut up, man. Everyone's laughing, class disrupted, all that. We got a mentor come in, Mr. Thompson, black guy. I'm looking at him automatically. I'm like, yo, who's my man? Don't like him immediately. Ain't spoke to him, but he walked so calm and cool. Had a presence about him. He saw me and he said, so what happened? I'm like, what? Normally, it's what did you do?
Right.
That's got you kicked out. Immediately, my back's up because I got to defend myself. Not the teacher was picking on me or whatever. Don't get me wrong, I might have did what I was doing, but there's always two sides to the story. Do you know what I mean? He's like, so what happened? I felt like, it's the first person that hasn't told me off and just inquired. I'm like, this is different. Got in the playgrounds like a couple of weeks later or whatever. Mr. Tom's like 6'5". We got new basketball hoops in the court. He's giving me a basketball because I think I got kicked out of class again. He's trying to talk to me, but I'm not having it. I'm about to boot it over the fence. He's like, nah, don't do that. He's like, just throw it, hit the back of the backboard and make it go in. So I've underarmed it, it's gone in. Now, he's like, keep doing that. But while I'm doing that, he's talking to me about my emotions, how do I feel, what happened, this, that, and the other. I'm like, all right. Every playtime now, me and Mr. Thompson are just out there. He's like, hold the ball like this, put your fingers like this. I'm seeing him around class and like around the hallway. He's giving me like printouts of like basketball players. At that time, I had cane rolls. He found me Allen Iverson because he was like, yo, this guy's different. He's small, he's edgy, he's confident in himself. He goes against the norms. I kind of feel like you'll like him. I'm like, all right, cool. Checked him out, thinking, this guy's a vibe. Time's gone on, fell in love with basketball. And then from there, Mr. Thompson talked to my mum outside of school, got me my first team, like place to go play basketball on a Saturday. From there, I've got a basketball with me all the time. And then my love for it just kept growing. But the thing with basketball is you're always chasing perfection. You can't have a perfect day. So it's always that slight little, even if you have a really good day, tomorrow might be awful. So it's like that cat and mouse. You ever saw a cat and you've got the red laser and then like you move it around, the cat's chasing it. Even if you stop it and it'll jump on it and it's got it, then it's like, then you'll move it and it's after it again. And that's what it was like for me in basketball in terms of that pursuit of greatness, that pursuit of feeling good. And what I also found was I was getting kicked out of class less. I was, my behaviour was being curbed in a way of, if you get kicked out of class, you can't play. And we're going to call your mum, so don't think you're playing basketball outside of school either. And I was like, because I already like school.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So that was something that kind of taught me a little bit of discipline. And then because I was naturally talented, I'm playing older and I'm getting respect and I'm around just people who are on what I'm on, because don't nobody play basketball like that really in the hood. And then, my dreams just kept growing and I just kept with it.
I love that. So my next question actually was there anybody in particular that inspired you along the way? But it sounds like Mr. Thompson must have really made a difference. It's
funny because I haven't seen him since I left school.
Okay.
Like year 6. But my mum saw him out shopping one time and she told him, and he still mentors, and he was at a school and he said he told some of the kids, because I was playing for Team England Commonwealth Games, so they had it on. And Mr. Thompson was like, see him? I used to teach him. They're like, nah, you didn't, sir. You're lying, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, it just makes me laugh. And I'm just like, imagine what that does for him, because I was them and now I'm here. Exactly. And then I got his number. I mean, he was just talking. I said to him, there's thousands of people who know about you that you wouldn't even imagine. Do you know what I mean? Because like, I haven't forgotten. Do you get me? Like the trajectory, like you helped me on, haven't forgotten at all. So he's definitely one of my keys, and my Uncle Patrick, them too.
I love that it was mainly the language that you said he approached you differently by his language choice, because he didn't come at it with an accusative tone. And I think people don't acknowledge the importance of language and how it can frame a conversation, how it can frame someone's attitude towards something or someone. So I love that, it really did impact you in a positive way. You mentioned Uncle Patrick as well. How did he contribute to your journey and where you've ended up?
You know what's funny? Like, my vibe, basically Fresh Prince. So you see Will, he's doing what he's doing. Yeah. Talented young man, energetic, this, that and the other. Gets dropped in a family, like a neutral family dynamic, and he doesn't have a clue. So my uncle, he's a fitness trainer in Miami. So when I got to America, he was there to like just support me. Bear in mind, I didn't really know him like that. So then when I stayed with him and his family, he's married. He's got 3 kids. They got the house and everything. I'm coming from me, my mum. You get me? And I'm hardly seeing my mum because she works full time. So I'm basically raising myself, doing what I'm doing. Do you know what I mean? Now, also, I've never been in a house with a man.
Right.
You get me? So the yards I'm in, I'm the man of the house. You get me? My mum's whatever, but like, come on, like, if anything goes wrong, it's me who's dealing with problems in our house. Do you know what I mean? Responsibility. Do you know what I mean? Now I'm in a house where Uncle Pat, my auntie, then he's got my cousin, then he's got twins. But then when I'm staying with him, I'm the oldest child. You get me? They've embraced me like the oldest child. So now I'm a role model.
Okay.
But bear in mind, I'm just out here living life. I'm on whatever vibe I'm on.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just me. And he's like, "Now you can't move in like that. You got 3 young boys who look up to you." I'm like, what? Also, I'm thinking there's nothing wrong with how I act, how I talk, what I'm on. They're just going to be like me because where I'm from, we're all the same anyway, pretty much. My uncle's like, nah, we're not doing that. But also, even in terms of like relationships and stuff, I'm seeing a married couple. There's no married couples in the hood. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's just a whole bunch of single people, women who have got kids, men who don't know their dads or they see them around. And I was one of them. So I'm just like, I actually don't even know how to fit in.
Yeah.
Forget basketball and fitness training. I don't know how to fit in. But then I found myself a lot of the time just taking a step back and just watching, because I'm trying to calculate how do they do stuff? Because the only time I ever saw a family doing anything, like a black family, my wife and kids, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Yeah.
So I'm also thinking this is only on TV. Yeah. Now I'm in it, shell-shocked. And I'm just like, wow. So he taught me a lot about that. He taught me a lot about working out and how to stay focused and always stay ready so you don't have to get ready. Because what I didn't understand was a lot of my anxiety would be from chilling, and then an opportunity would come and I'm not ready. And that would mess me up because certain opportunities, the higher level up you go, don't come around more than once. So that kind of instilled a certain level of discipline in me, a level of foresight of being my best self all the time. And also, even being in a room with strangers, like I can be in a room now and talk to everyone, one man up, comfortable, talk to a CEO, talk to the little kids, talk to the parents, talk to the janitor. I'm calm and be able to have a nice relationship and conversation. I used to just stand in a room on my phone, middle of the room, don't care, don't want to talk to none of yours. If I do, like them type of skills,
Open
like,
doors.
forget basketball. I'm talking about life, you know what I mean? Where it's like, and I just found myself just being so much like him. It's crazy. Even my auntie says it. And then I saw him and we was just talking about what I'm doing in life, blah, blah, blah. And he was just like, proud of you. And I was just like, wow. Because you actually know what I was like and I know what I was like and now I know the difference. And he just sits there and he goes, oh, really? Interesting. You weren't always like that. Do you remember? And like, he was also strong enough to the point where even like the police, I'm coming from where I'm coming from. One of his best friends was a police officer. He's like, yeah, I want to make you meet him. Nah, I'm good. I was like, what? I want you to meet my friend. Like he's a police officer, but he's a good guy and blah, blah, blah. Nah, all police are the same. I'm not meeting him. I'm cool. Uncle weren't having it. Normally, when someone's defiant, people kind of like give them wiggle room and stuff. My uncle was like, nah, not having it. Time went on. Now I'm doing partnerships with the police and stuff just because I understand and have a mindset of not everyone's the same. Do you get me? Stop branding everyone with the same brush. Have an open mind. Just like life lessons like that, man. It was just like super important.
Yeah, because you can use those experiences to give your insight into what needs to happen and how to develop things, which is really important because it's not been the easiest ride for you either, from what I've gathered by some of your videos. I know you've experienced what you mentioned about growing up in a single parent household and coming from the hood, which I can really relate to. You also said that you've experienced injury as well, which I know in any sports person's career is going to have some kind of impact, but how did you manage that stage of your life?
I didn't manage it very well. I'm just thankful to be here. Let's just say that. Broke my hip twice. And that was like intense, man, like intense. So like I broke it, got forced to play on it, almost got my scholarship taken away because I had to play, to the point where it was a rock and a hard place because I'm like, yo, I'm miserable. I want to go home. I hate it here. Also about to be the first person in my family to graduate. So I can't really not. I've got to play, I love playing basketball, but yo, I've just got a grey cloud hanging over me all the time. I'm playing well and I'm miserable. Then I also want to go pro, so I kind of can't quit because maybe this is just a period in life. Now you got a broken hip. I'm like, raw. To the point where I had to make a decision, what am I going to do? So I was suicidal. Like, not like I had suicidal thoughts. I'm talking, I'm sitting on the edge of my arena, the irony, and I'm sitting there and just thinking, don't want to be here no more. I just can't do this because I'm in a group chat with my boys who are back in England, 6-7 hour time difference. But you know what guys are like? Everything's banter. Everything's banter. So I'm just like, this is real life stuff I'm going through, so I can't talk to you lot. Now I'm muting the group chat, or I'm waking up in the morning, 900 messages, I'm about to go to class. I'm like, I can't even be arsed because So it's gone from 600 messages to 2,000 messages, 5,000 messages. I'm just never in it. It's not happening. So my closest friends, that's basically deaded off. My teammates, we're all going through hell together. So you can't, everyone's just trying to tread water themselves, do you know what I mean? I can't really talk to my mum because I don't want to stress her, do you know what I mean? Like, you can't really help me. You can't. And there'd be times where I just lose it and it's like 11 p.m. for me, ringing my mum. Yo, she's asleep, phone, she picks up, hello, yo, it's me. Just letting you know, when I turn up at the house, don't ask me nothing. Kofi, wait, what? Bear in mind, she's about to go work. Just letting you know, bear in mind, I'm talking about, I'm going airport, I'm leaving. When I walk through the front door in Brum, don't ask me no questions, hang up. I'm not thinking about that level of stress I'm putting on her. Then it got to a point where I didn't want to do that no more. And then, I was sitting on the edge of my building and I'm thinking, if I just slipped off, I'd have no stress, no worries, no nothing. And then I thought to myself, that's going to be like ruining for everyone. Do you know what I mean? Like, you might be good, but everyone else is just going to be crushed. Like, all right, if we've got these thoughts, cool. But if we're going to have them, like, just do it tomorrow. Just try and survive tonight. Do you know what I mean? If you still feel like that tomorrow, we'll face that tomorrow. And then I was doing ice baths every single night just so I could walk the next day, just so I could practice, just so I could play. Do you know what I mean? It was just such a horrible time in life, man. I was just miserable. And then I got counselling. And that was a blessing because for my degree, my psych degree, it was a prerequisite. You couldn't graduate without it. Like, you had to get it. 5 hours. I sat there the first session, typical geezer, sat there. Hi, Kofi, how you doing? Bro, don't even do it. I'm just here so that I can do my time and leave. He's like, all right, cool. Second session, gone there again. Kofi, so today let's talk about, bro, what did I say last time? We're not doing it because I just got a time to sit there and not think about life. I just got to be in a room where I've got to go back into that world. Bear in mind, my photos posted everywhere. I'm one of the top players in the conference, one of the better players in the country, this, that, and the other. That pressure, I'm just like, this is dead. Also, this is my dream I chose when I was 10.
Yeah. So
that I can't talk to no one because everyone's going to be like, you chose it. I'm like, you don't get it. Do you know what I mean? Time's gone on. Ended up speaking to him. Felt a little bit better. 10 months later, got healthy. I'm doing workouts in the pool, 6 a.m., getting healthy. Played for 6 weeks, tore my hip again, broke my hip again. 10 months again. And to the point I'm thinking, bro, I just don't know if I can do this. Because I've got doctors saying to me, if you ever want to be able to bend over and pick up your kids in the future, retire from basketball. I'm 23, I've been playing for 13 years. What do you mean retire, bro? I'm like 4 months from being pro. 4 months. He's like, it's just my professional opinion. Now I'm like stuck in a rock and a hard place. I'm sitting there, tears in my eyes, because I'm thinking, bro, what do I actually do? Because it's no one else's decision. Everyone's like, it's up to you. We'll support you. But how do you know what's the right thing? I've got my teacher saying to me when I'm like 11, what makes you think you can go to America if you can't make the England team? Which I just got cut from. I didn't make it all, like every single year, not 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20s, 21s, 22s, 23s. I haven't made the England team, nothing. I'm thinking, how am I going to go pro now if I can't even represent my country? I barely made it to America. I'm damaged goods. Ain't no pro team going to invest in me. I wouldn't even invest in me if I'm using my logic, because I'm like, his hip's just broken twice in like 18 months. I'm not paying him to play pro. I'd rather get someone who's probably not as good as him, that's healthy. At least I know he'll make it throughout the year. Do you know what I mean? I decided to bet on myself. I was like, all right, we're just going to run it. Ran it. And my hip's been good ever since, because I had to learn like doctor's terms, because when I need to communicate what's wrong with me, I need you to understand, bro. Not, oh, it hurts here, but then a little bit to the side.
Yeah.
Nah, like, I need you to know. And then, yeah, I made the England team for the Commonwealth Games when I was like 25, 26 after my first season in Germany. And yeah, sometimes I look at my scars on my hip and I just think, most people don't even know. They just look at me and be like, oh, he's a good basketball player. He's a really good basketball player. I never ever wanted, he's a great basketball player for having one hip.
Yeah.
Just rate me on how good I am. I'm either good or I suck. That's fine.
Yeah, but don't use other things to grade.
Do you know what I mean? Don't put me in that box.
Like when people used to say to me that I'm pretty for a black girl, I'm
like,
like,
bro,
what the heck
don't
is that
even.
statement? You can take your drink and put it back, because what does that even mean?
That's wild, that.
Wild.
Do you know what I mean?
Black guy said that to me, you're pretty for a black girl. And I'm like, no, you can scratch the last bit of that. But yeah, no, I'll totally get you. You said as well, one of your coping mechanisms during that time was watching motivational videos. You weren't really digesting other things except things that are going to keep you moving forward, and I think that's really powerful. What kind of things were you watching?
I overdosed on motivational videos. I'm talking, I used to watch a lot of Eric Thomas, E.T. the Hip Hop Preacher. It's funny because about 2 years after feeling like suicidal, I got to meet him.
Really?
And it was just nuts, man, because I'm thinking, like, bro, you don't even know. Do you know what I mean? You know, you just like, you don't even, like, you just don't know. Like, you're just out here living your life and you don't know, like, how you've helped someone. And I also start to think to myself, bro, you also need to realize that, like, your testimony of just still being here and everything you've accomplished and stuff, not necessarily like your sporting achievements, but like getting a degree. You know what I mean? Like, stuff like that, just changing your life, not being on nonsense. Like, bro, like, you're an inspiration. So I listen a lot to Eric Thomas, Inky Johnson. I listen to a lot of Les Brown as well. Les Brown, he's one of my favorites. But Kobe Bryant, so I used to like watch so many Kobe Bryant motivational videos, but not just motivation on the court. If anything, I didn't really care about his on-court stuff. I cared about his mindset, because the court was kind of like the result.
Exactly.
But I care about how you cook the food rather than what we ate. Do you know what I mean? And that motivation and mindset helped me in so many different areas of life, but also helped me understand, all right, if he's successful like that, he thinks like this. Do I think like this? No, I think different. Why do I think different? Go down that rabbit hole of trying to unpack that, because if you don't unpack it, it's really hard to move forward. It's like walking with chains on. Do you know what I mean? Go find out what you're chained to first. Yeah. Then go, do you know what I mean? But a lot of people don't want to take steps back to go forward. So yeah, that was a lot of stuff. And I started reading a lot. I started writing a lot. And that's where I made my journal, because I was like, I need some support. I need to get everything out of here, because I'm quite erratic as well. So I have tendencies to just move mad, but it seems like I'm moving mad because a lot of the time I'm chilling. But because I've got so much going on, eventually I snap, and then it's like, yo, where did that come from? Do you know what I mean? And it's like it's not like I shouted at someone. It's like I might put a chair through a window or like hit someone on the court. Do you know what I mean? Like real detrimental type stuff to everything I've built. Yeah. So I was just like, I'm actually kind of tired of busting my ass and working my ass off to then self-sabotage as well. Exactly. Do you know what I mean? And that, yeah, so a lot of like motivational like that.
I love that. I've done that in my time. I think one of the best things I could do was sort of reading self-help books and listening to motivational videos. There's a time I was working really hard to get on the property ladder. I think it was about 2015. And I'd literally grafted so hard that year because I thought I want enough to put a deposit down on a house. I just knew I wanted to own a property. Real estate's been in my bag since I was 18. I was kicked out. I needed somewhere to live and I needed a job. So got into real estate. And I made some people really wealthy. I thought, okay, I know one way of being financially secure as someone who doesn't come from money is to get on the property ladder and eliminate the need to do rent and whatnot. So that year, 2015, I worked really hard. I made loads of commission. But because I went over a certain income threshold, I actually got taxed so much, it put me below what I'd done the year before. And I paid about 26 grand in tax. I thought, I can't cope with that.
You've got to be smart on how you do it, innit?
Yeah, but I didn't. It wasn't like I was self-employed. I was employed within a business working for the Manchester Evening News at the time. So I didn't know how to avoid going over that threshold, and obviously that was the reason I ended up moving out of the country. So I went to Dubai for a couple of years. I thought, right, I'm not going to buy a house this year, but by the time I come back from Dubai, I want to have saved enough to do that. So yeah, I spent a couple of years out there doing real estate. Luckily, I've got a few friends out there and managed to, find a nice community to be part of. I was going to ask you, how has it been for you sort of travelling with work? Because I think as much as people want to see the world and experience what's out there, it can be quite hard to take the leap. So what inspired you to take the leap, and how have you managed sort of getting about, being on your own, doing travelling with your work?
I'm naturally nomadic. So I usually say there's two types of only child. One who loves being by themselves and is very comfortable. And if anything, their own company is the cake and people are the cherry. Or you got the other one who just craves people and doesn't actually like being by themselves. I'm not the last one. I'm the first one. Like, I'm very happy, me with me. Multiple personalities, so I'm good. I mean, technically, we're ever alone. You get me. I'm chilling. And I'm interested in so much stuff anyway. Like, if anything, sometimes people have a hindrance because I might be reading something and I'm playing a game, then I'm researching this, then I'm down a YouTube rabbit hole, and then I'm writing my book, and then this. It's like, if I'm with one person, they might only be interested in two of the things, and now I'm kind of held back.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But obviously, I'm naturally nomadic, and I've always cared about the world. Like, one of my favourite subjects in school was geography, because I'm just like, ooh. But I also love history as well, in terms of like different cultures and everything. It just intrigues me. Do you know what I mean? Like, I've got wanderlust. Like, I love it. With basketball, when I was young, I always, like, I wanted to play in the NBA like most kids do, but it wasn't really my dream like that. My dream was to play professional basketball, travel the world, because I'm like, so you're telling me I get to, instead of going on holiday to these places, I get to travel to these places and get paid to live there. Because like a lot of my friends, some of them I played in like Spain or like Germany, and I used to be like, so what's it like? Because I used to go to America all the time, and obviously America is very similar to the UK. But I'm like, Germany ain't, Spain ain't. I used to be the black people. Bear in mind, I've never left the hood, so I'm just like...
It's always my first question. How diverse is it?
But then I also, a part of me, because I'm so confident in me, I'm like, I kind of like it if there's no black people, because I'm on what I'm on, so I'm just like, I'm just intrigued. Bare people staring at me.
Yeah.
Don't really care. I play basketball for a living. I have thousands of people staring at me, so whatever. Also, Kofi, how are you going to act in them situations? It's nice when you're in your comfortable space, but like, the best way to get to know you is put yourself in a situation you've never been in before, because you're going to react. Your brain's going to be on overdrive, and you just got to think about it once it's all happened, and like get to know yourself. So for me, I've lived in 8 countries now.
Wow.
Germany, Spain, Switzerland, Scotland, Sweden. I've lived in 8 countries. My last one was Saudi Arabia. But like, every country I've lived in, so different. Do you know what I mean? And I'm just like, all right, Kofi, what are we like in this environment? What are we like now in a supermarket when you can't read nothing, trying to figure out what food it is? Because I remember what we were like at 17, where the world was going to end, where I'm just looking for like Nando's sauce because it's the closest thing I can find to make it feel like I'm back at home. Now I'm looking for stuff that's got nothing to do at home. But because I lived in so many situations, it's like, when you was in Sweden, there was that banging thing there. When you was in Iceland, there was that food that you liked there. When you was in Saudi, there was something you liked there. When you was in Spain. So now it's like, you don't know what you like. You don't know who you are. So let's just embrace the situation and like get to know you. And it's just been a blessing that I've got to do it for basketball, but also for modeling. I've also got to like be in a whole bunch of countries, which is also a blessing. So I think as long as you take care of like your star player, which is you, it doesn't matter where you are, because when you're aligned with yourself, you're good anywhere you go. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
but
I feel like home's inside you.
Yeah, home is wherever I am.
Yeah,
that's what I said. It's
exactly.
it's not a certain place, because when you get picked up and dropped in so many places, you're going to have to let that go, because if you don't, you're going to be missing out on so many blessings, so many opportunities, and you're just going to be lacking in your mindset, do you know what I mean, of the growth spectre.
I agree. I love that. So I think I could talk to you all day, to be honest. Probably so much more we could go into, but I think I'd like to touch on really the journey that you've had and what it's developed into. So you've actually developed a journal, as you mentioned, and you've also developed a clothing brand, which is mental health related. So just before we sign off, could you tell us a little bit about how you transformed your journey into a path of business?
I love business. Well, I love creating. I'm a creative at heart, like first and foremost. So the business side has had to like be developed because I've always said I don't really care about the money. I just want to be able to create. So like I don't need to be a multi-millionaire. I just need to make enough money to be able to do whatever I want.
Yeah.
That's essentially all I care about because I love creating. With the brand, obviously I'm a model. I was always loved fashion, loved like... There was a time when I was young and I walked into the Nike shop and I was like 10, 11. And I saw this big guy on a billboard. I never thought, oh, I want to be a model. First thing I thought was, I wonder what he thinks when he walks in here and sees himself on there. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, what does he think? Because that's an actual person, like somewhere. That's just him. And I always cared about modeling like that. And then I've always seen myself as an individual. I dress how I want. My personality is a little bit different to some people might like or not like or like whatever. So when it came to fashion, just a mode of expression, and me caring about mental health so much and understanding how important it is in culture, I like to look good, I like to feel good, but that feel good part is a lot deeper than you think. It's not just about your hair being done, you trim, your skin being nice, smelling good, your outfit being sick. It's like when women are on their period and they're feeling all horrible and stressed and that, they go put on like their favourite piece of clothing. Do you know what I mean? To make them feel comfortable, make them feel a little bit better. I know when I'm trying to lock in and mentally get ready on game day, I pick my favourite things because I know, oh, last time I had a good game, I wore them. I might put on my Kobe Bryant tee. All right, Kofi, we're on it today. We're locked in. Little things like that. And I feel like with mental health in culture, it can't just be a put on a t-shirt or a hoodie that says smile, be happy. What's that doing? I'm a mental health advocate and I ain't even doing nothing for me. What about everyone else? What can be in culture that looks good, people can wear often, feels good, makes them feel good about themselves? What can I do? And I just feel like my industry and my knowledge in that field definitely is something that can be good for people. Do you know what I mean? And because of how I am unapologetic, it embraces and like helps them to be the same. Do you know what I mean? And then yeah, that's why I made a clothing brand. But within the brand, we've got the journal, which is a guided journal of what I needed when I was younger to help me, not just in basketball, but in life and getting to know myself and getting understanding mental health. I needed that. But I've also written a mental health autobiography, which is my life from childhood trauma, no dad around, suicidal thoughts, single parent, growing up in the hood, PTSD. I touch on about 25 different areas of mental health in story format, because when you read a psychology book, I felt like all of them were just talking at me. It'd be a chapter on stress, chapter on PTSD, chapter on whatever. I pick it up, read it, shut it, put it down. By next class, I've forgotten what I just read.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Mike Tyson book, David Beckham book, Michelle Obama book. I'm reading that front to cover. I got my pen, underlining, folding the ends. Let me revisit that another time, this, that, and the other. Taking photos, putting it on the gram, all that for other people. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I was like, my story's been mad. So if I can teach people who care about sports, don't care about sports, about mental health through story, then I can captivate people, and that can be an aid that can support them in their own journey in the journal, them feeling good and just spreading it around culture.
I think that's what I really love about your journey, is the fact that not only have you taken an adverse set of circumstances and really turned it around for yourself, you've then decided to share that with, you know, your peers or the next generation. And I think one of the main things that we can do here today as a society is make sure that we're building things that are sustainable, that the next generation can use as tools, and we're putting things out into the community that people can use as inspiration.
Especially our culture as well. Yeah, I want to build, man. Like, I want to build. I'm sick of, like, piggybacking on other people's stuff and that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I want my own stuff.
We take ownership.
Yeah,
we build
you
businesses.
get me?
We make podcasts. We create content, and we're transferring the messages from our perspective. The idea of truth depends on the holder. So what one sector of society might feel is a norm or is a truth is not the same set as other people. So I think that's why me personally, I'm so interested. I'm curious about people. I want to know, how have you done it? How have you overcome it? Because I know there's gems in that society, and I don't want to say hidden gems, because I think we're quite blessed in the sense that we're moving towards a time where there's a lot more funding available. There's a lot more opportunities available for young people to start acknowledging their individuality and helping them to choose a path that really suits them. So we're moving in the right direction, aren't we?
Yeah,
but thank you. I think my last question, Kofi, was if you could give one piece of advice to your teenage self. I know you get asked this question loads of times, but what would it be?
You know, it's funny, I did a talk last week, and a year 6 child said to me, do you think Reese would be proud of you? Kids ask the best questions, because I was like, raw. I don't know, I haven't thought about that. Then I thought, I think he would be. So what your question was just then, what I'd say to my younger self, stay unapologetic, man. Stay unapologetic, because everything you're about to go through is necessary. Like, we're not dodging the smoke. Like, don't dodge the smoke. It's going to be hard. It's going to be hell. It's going to be horrible. But it's going to be necessary. Do you know what I mean? Because only through that did I realise that basketball wasn't my purpose. It was a vehicle. This is my purpose. Do you know what I mean? And I can reach a lot more people now with my story and my journey than just being like an elite basketball player. Do you know what I mean? And yeah, it's funny because even saying that, knowing everything that I've been through, would I go through it again? I really wouldn't wanna, but it's necessary, man. Do you know what I mean? So stay unapologetic, because there's lessons in that. Hard ones.
Yeah. But we don't get the tools that we need to understand, okay, what solutions are we trying to provide? What problems do we have? And how do we come about fixing them? If we don't get to experience those adversities, we can't come up with the solution because we haven't experienced them. So I'm also grateful that I've been on that journey and I've seen so many different sides of life. I've walked in a lot of different paths, and I would do exactly the same again, to be honest. So thank you. I think have you got your socials that you want to share? Do you want to signpost us to any of your amazing work?
You can find me on Instagram, Dejkof, DEJKOAF. Find me on Twitter at Keezus4, like KEEZUS4. And then my mental health charity, that's just Why Not I MH, like WHYNOTIIMH. And then for the clothing brand, it's Why Not I again, but Clo instead of MH. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Obviously, you see me on LinkedIn, all that. I'm just everywhere. I'm not hard to find. So if anyone wants to like reach out, like holler at me.
Yeah, you know just like I did. I found Kofi in a book club chat and I just resonated with what you posted. I thought, I need to speak to this person. I feel like we've got something that we need to explore together. So I'm really grateful that you came and spoke to me. My socials, I'm just_Neenagh. Neenagh is NEENAGH, and that's on Instagram. So thank you, Kofi. Thank you for listening to No Shame in Struggle. Stay tuned for our up-and-coming episodes where we continue to explore the journeys of successful individuals who have turned their struggle into their superpower.
You're a bad bee.
Thanks, guys.
Good job.